For language, we are going to finish up the book report today, so you need to be having page 41, 42, and we're at the bottom of page 41. And everybody read what the next thing is that we're going to do.
What is the main character's biggest problem in the story?
All right, the main character we talked yesterday was Mark Conley. What is the main character's biggest problem in the story? Let's come up with some ideas before we decide what we're going to write. Paige, what do you think?
The Samson was missing.
Okay, that's part of it.
Is when Corey was captured.
Well, you're getting too close to the end of the book.
That dog nappers have been taking dogs.
Okay, well, what does that have to do with Mark? We need to get what she said about Samson missing and what you're saying about the dog nappers, and we need to put it together with what that has to do with Mark and actually Maria Dolores and Corey. What does that have to do with them?
Well, Mark had a hard time finding Samson.
You're still not telling me what that has to do with the three friends. What does it have to do with the three friends?
That he lost like his dog.
No, Travis lost a dog, not Mark. Mark is the main character. You're getting a little confused with somebody else in the story, okay? What is it that Mark and Maria Dolores and Corey have to do with a missing cat and some dogs that have been stolen? Ben?
They have to get Samson and find the dog
Why?
now.
Why do they have to do it?
Because the sheriff Hadley didn't have time to really capture them or anything.
But you're still not telling me why they have to do it. Why do they have to do it? Jonathan?
Because they wanted to, because they're the crime busters.
Yeah, you guys were supposed to be telling me about the crime busters. They started the crime busters, and so they're solving a case. What was their first case?
Samson is missing.
Samson. So does their case really involve the dog nappers at first? No, they're only knowing that they're trying to find Samson, Mrs. Wolsiak's cat. Right? So how are we going to start this? Somebody give me a good idea. We need to mention the crime busters and the fact that they're looking for Samson. Give me a good sentence that we can write. Owen?
And it lost it.
Zeke?
The crime busters are looking for Mrs. Wolsiak's cat because it's missing.
All right, we're just going to say the crime busters. And we need to capitalize that because that's like the name of their business or club or whatever you want to call it. The crime busters are looking for Mrs. Wolsiak's missing cat. So let me go ahead and say missing cat. And I will move as soon as I can. I cannot move when I'm still writing. Please stop making all that noise behind me. Alright. Alright, so as they're looking for the cat, what do they find out? Let's add another sentence to it, adding to the problem. What do they find out? Let's let somebody else. She did a great job on that. Dee. Let's let somebody else have a chance. Abby?
That they find out that Travis's dog went missing too.
They do find out eventually, but that leads them to know that there's something going on. What's the big thing that's going on? Not just Travis's dog, but they find out what?
That people's dog, like
Okay.
everyone's dog in the town.
What about them? What's happening to them?
They're getting kidnapped, or dog napped.
Okay, dog nap. So, period, not like the way it looks. So they find out people's dogs are being dog napped. Very good. Right? Alright, so that I agree would be the main character's main problem, right? There's the crime busters, they're looking for Mrs. Walsiak's missing cat, and they find people's dogs are being dog napped. Realize that's not showing up too much. It's there, but it's not showing up on the camera very well, so. Alright, if you've written everything, you can turn over the back. Alright. And there's a new section on the back. How many of you need more time? Just some of you, okay, so most of you are done? Okay, so while they're finishing copying that, let's talk about the next section, which says, read, those of you that are ready, read what it says. How was the problem solved? Alright, so the crime busters looking for Mrs. Walfiel's missing cat, and they find that people's dogs are being dog napped. So how was that problem solved? What was the beginning of them being able to solve it? See?
How the dog nappers actually kidnapped Samson because they thought he was a dog.
Yeah, but did they know that at first?
No.
No.
They know that.
You're getting a little bit ahead of the story because they have to figure that one out.
They were following where Samson usually goes.
Okay, well, that is one thing about a book report. You're not going to write every single detail. Because they did that, and when they did that, they were able to figure out what happened to Samson, maybe, right? Okay? But we can't write every single detail that's in the story. So I want us to think about what led them to being able to solve the mystery. I mean, I know there was a process they had to go through, but we need to think of the main things, right? So, what was the first thing that they were able to start putting things together? Yes, they did follow Samson's path, and they realized that Samson's gone to where the dog, can't remember the name of the dog, that he ate the dog's food. But he went and ate that dog's food. Yeah, the pug. Pug's food. He ate the pug's food, but the pug had a name. I just can't think of his name right now. Blackie. Yes, Blackie. So when Samson ate the Blackie's food and Samson fell asleep, so they were able to figure that out because Mrs. Taylor told them that the dog, that Samson had eaten the dog's food, and that they found out the dog's food had some kind of thing poured in to make it go to sleep.
Some of it, so they
Sleep. Yeah, so it had sleep drug in it, so that was part of it. But remember, we can't write everything. What was another thing they did that helped them?
They found out what car the dog nappers were in.
That is true. When they talked to Travis's friends, right, they found out they were in a green van, all right?
And the van was sitting outside of our house.
Okay, that's a little too much detail. We don't need to say that. They just,
that it said one service.
okay, well, we're not gonna worry about those details. We're just going to worry about the money, because we won't wanna have to write everything. But what else did they do that helped them see the men? What did they do to help them see the men?
They located where they were hiding out.
No, you're getting ahead of the story. They saw the men before they ever went to the hideout.
Maria Dolores got the equipment and stuff from her uncle, and they set it up and stuff at nighttime, and they put out cinnamon.
Yeah, cinnamon. Yes, remember they used cinnamon to lure them to try to come get cinnamon? And so that's where they were able to see the men and hear them talking. But of course they didn't catch them then. And then who appeared again?
Then?
No.
Wait, what?
Who appeared again?
Who appeared?
No.
Cinnamon?
Maya?
Travis.
No, I'm not talking about Travis.
Mark?
I'm not sure what you said.
Mark?
Mark didn't disappear, huh?
Samson?
Samson. Remember Samson showed up and they were able to look at Samson and see some clues about the dusty, the white dust that was from the shell road that Samson had been on, and the burrs and things that were in Samson's fur. So then they were able, and Travis did help them with that, remember, because Travis is actually the one that saw Samson first. But when they saw that Travis had Samson, or actually Samson saw that they had Travis, because even Samson escaped from Travis, didn't he? So Samson had escaped from Travis, and so they were able to follow then, they were able to get down the road to see where Samson had been located, right? Alright, so, is there anyone that's not finished with this? Alright, I'm gonna erase it, and we're gonna go on to the next section. So, the first thing they did was, we talked about that they followed Samson's path to do what? What were they doing? Why were they doing that? As crime busters, they were following Samson's path to do what?
To find the dog
To find, no, because they didn't know about the dog nappers yet. The first time they followed Samson's path to do what?
To find where he was.
But if you're a detective, you are doing what? What do you call what they were doing?
To find clues.
Yes, to find clues, alright? So the first thing I'm gonna say is, they followed Samson's path to find clues. Remember, we're not gonna write the whole story, so we're gonna skip a little bit ahead. They found a clue, right? And the clue led them to believe there were dog nappers, right? So what did they do? They used equipment and, what's the name of the dog? Cinnamon. They used equipment and cinnamon to do what to the dog nappers? Yeah, to lure the dog nappers. Alright? So the next sentence will be, they used equipment, and we're not gonna go to all the details of saying all the equipment, because this is just a book report. We're not rewriting the book, we're just telling the basic details of the story. Oh, I forgot to write the word used. Alright, they used equipment and cinnamon, and don't forget to capitalize cinnamon. You guys know that Cinnamon is the name of the aunt's dog, and we're not even gonna say it was the aunt's dog. We're just gonna call the dog Cinnamon. They use equipment and cinnamon to lure the dog nappers. They use equipment and cinnamon to lure the dog nappers. And that will bring us to the part of the story where Samson reappears, right? And what did Samson do? Well, we're gonna actually say Samson reappears and did what?
Followed the road that he was on.
Alright, so instead of saying followed the road, we're gonna say led them. Led them. Where did Samson lead them? Yeah, to the dog napper's hideout, right? So we're gonna start with Samson. Appeared, oh, let's say escaped. Johnson escaped and led them to the dog nappers hideout. Now we need to finish it out a little bit more. So what are we gonna talk about next after that?
Describe your favorite exciting.
No, we're not doing that yet, because that's personal. Everybody's gonna put their own personal favorite part. Please stop doing that. We gotta finish out a little bit, because we don't have the dog nappers captured yet, do we?
No.
Alright, so without saying every single detail, now they've been led back to the dog nappers hideout, so what's going to go on next? Ben?
They warned like the police and Mark's dad, and then went all the way to where the dog nappers were going, and then captured them.
Yep, okay, so they warned the adults, probably just call them the adults, alright, so that we can include all the people that they told. They warned the adults and followed the dog nappers to where they heard they were going.
That's too long.
It's not as long as saying all the details we could say. They warned the adults and followed the dog nappers. Is that better?
Yep.
Alright, and then we gotta put one more sentence to actually get them all captured. What did they do? After they followed the dog nappers, what did they do? Zeke?
You know they went in some kind of old house and got some white cloth, and they like threw it down,
Do you
and
really wanna write all that? What was the purpose of white cloth? What were they trying
they
to
were
do?
trying to scare Albert.
Yeah,
So then he got out the gun and shot him, and it bombed one of them in the head.
yeah, so they were,
Afraid.
yeah, they were brave, that's true, but they were doing what? Who can make that into a shorter sentence? Who thinks they can make it into a shorter sentence? Johnny?
They frightened, what was his name?
Albert?
Albert, so they would be scared, so it would be easier to catch them.
Alright. They frightened Albert,
So it could be easier.
so it'd be easier to capture. Very good. Because then Albert ran away, right? And that only left Mick, right? Alright, so they frightened. And actually, what was another guy's name? The one that was Ellsworth?
Mick.
No,
Mick.
not Mick. The guy that was in, the guy that owned the pet store.
Oh, I forgot.
His name started with an E. I can't think of his name. What was his name? Ellsworth.
Albert.
No, you guys are thinking of Albert, the one that was scared. Eldridge. Remember Mr. Eldridge was the one that was getting them to steal the dogs. He owned the pet stores and he was getting them to steal the dogs for him. And he actually ran away too, didn't he?
No.
Yeah, I think yes, he did.
So they frightened Albert and Eldridge. Away
almost out of space. I can't write anymore.
Well, maybe you shouldn't be writing so big, which I've told you on the day one of school to stop writing so big, right? And let's just finish out with Mick was captured. We won't go into the details of him getting him hit in the head and all those things. But Mick was captured. All of them were captured. But Albert and Eldridge were captured when they ran away, right? Because they were waiting outside for them. And then Mick was captured inside. He was the only one that was trying to put up a fight. Adam, do you see why you're supposed to write smaller? Everybody else seems to be able to fit what I've written on the board in that space that they gave you. Alright, so they followed Samson's path to find clues. They used equipment and cinnamon to lure the dog nappers. Samson escaped and led them to the dog nappers' hideout. They warned the adults and followed the dog nappers. They frightened Albert and Eldridge away. Mick was captured. Alright, now it brings you to the last section, and this is personal, because different people will have a different favorite part. Because the last part they ask you is, describe your favorite exciting event in the story. So different people will have a different thing that's their favorite. So you can write that on your own. Make sure you use good sentences, begin them with capital letters, and end them with correct punctuation. And just do your best on the spelling.